this, you nailed, this is the nub. People who are posting things on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, they have hundreds of thousands of followers.
Is you ain't my constituency.
Hey everybody, it's Everett with Ohio for Freedom, and I am here to talk to you about a naked Canadian power grab, a Nacadian power grab. That's the official term. I dubbed that, or deemed it official just a few moments ago. I recorded this as a walk and talk earlier today, but I'm having issues with my phone. I can't get it out of my phone, so I'm just going to, from memory, try to run this down. But I've been following the tyranny that's going on in Canada, and y'all are in my prayers. And the good news is Pastor Pawlowski is out of jail after the guards refused to honor the judge's, sentence, or what's the order that he be released. They just refused the judge. But I guess the second or third time around, I read the story in Rebel News, but they'd be clear on the facts. Anyway, he's out, and thank the Lord for that. But in the process of doing all that looking around, I stumbled across a story and a sentence within this story. When I read it, I can't believe that the powers that shouldn't be would have somebody that would, number one, actually say it, and number two, say it in public. It's just shocking to me, and I want to comment on it because what's going on is that the Canadian, the RTCC, the Radio and Television Communications Commission, or something similar to that, is looking at rewriting some legislation or enacting some legislation. Anyway, it's still kind of being, it's up for grabs, so to speak, is what's going on. And like any other government agency in the world, these folks are not satisfied with the amount of power they have. They want more power. They want more control over ordinary citizens' lives, and what they're really interested in is regulating and controlling censorship, regulating and controlling what happens, especially on social media. And I watched a program. The anchor's name is Evan something. I can't remember. I never caught his last name. Pretty sharp young fella, at least in that exchange. And he was speaking to one of your cabinet people or something with a title named Stephen Guilbeault. And in the process of Evan trying to find out, see what the crux of it is they want more regulation, but it's not going to affect the ordinary Canadian. It's not going to affect the average person. No, but when somebody gets, listen to this carefully defined term, a whole lot of followers, or lots and lots of followers, and they start making lots of money, well, then they are subject to regulation. But try as he might, Evan was not able to pin this guy down to anything specific. The question again and again was, what's the threshold that you want to regulate? And he was also asking, why don't you use the old language that everybody's happy with and leave it alone? But of course, the power-hungry powers that shouldn't be want more power. But I want to read you. This was an answer, and when I read this yesterday, I'm like, what? He actually said it, and two, he said it in public. When asked what is the threshold for more regulation, instead of answering the question, he said this: "This is why we have a body of experts like the CRTC to make those determinations. It's not up to politicians to decide that," said the minister. I'm like floored. He actually said it. What he's saying is, we want this body of experts to make these censorship regulation decisions and it not be up to politicians. Now, I understand the word politician has negative connotations, but it's politicians that supposedly represent we the people that vote them in. And what this gentleman is saying is we need these experts that aren't accountable to the elected officials, and they're not accountable to the general public. They're just accountable to, drumroll please, themselves. He actually said that. And then he went on to say, listen to this, governments come and go, but these experts are there, and they will be making this determination after having consultations with organizations of different opinions on the subject matter. I couldn't believe he said that out loud because, folks, this is the epitome of so much that is evil and wrong in our world today. This, where you have experts and entities that outlive any present administration. They're the ones that hold the real power. The elected people, that's just for show. It's the lifelong bureaucrats that really have the power. That's the secret of little Tony Fauci's power. He has been getting some grilling lately. That's going to be for another episode, and I can't wait. But these global medical mafia types figured out that if they could secure to their ranks and bring into their fold and corrupt the influence of these unelected bureaucrats, state directors of health and so forth, they wield an awful lot of power. They have more power than the government, and they outlive the government. And that's exactly what's going on. Governments come and go, but these experts are there, and they will be making this determination.
But this, you nailed, this is the nub. People who are posting things on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, they have hundreds of thousands of followers. So and now you're saying, okay, at some point there is a threshold and they're generating content. Of course they are. They're generating revenues. They're selling ads all over the world. That's how they make money on TikTok and YouTube. That's my question. At what point, what is the threshold that they will be subjected to CRTC regulations? You've admitted they will be. Now we're just debating when. So I ask you again, when?
Well, obviously, this is why we have a body of experts like the CRTC to make those determinations. It's not up to politicians to decide that. We've deliberately decided to depoliticize this system so that governments come and go, but these experts are there, and they will be making this determination after having consultations with organizations of different opinion on the subject matter.
You've just said that user-generated content at some point will be determined that it can be regulated by the CRTC. You used to have an exemption for all that user-generated content. Now you're saying, well, at some point, some government's going to determine it. This is why there's pushback, sir, because you've opened the door for regulation.
It's not the government that's going to make that determination, Evan. As I said, it's the body of experts, the CRTC. So it's not subject to political interference. That's why it's not being debated. These things are not debated by politicians. We don't want politicians. We want experts to be in charge of that. And now, obviously, the CRTC is an organization that's arm's length from the government. But we're talking, and you've said it yourself, like we're talking about channels that.
I couldn't believe that he said it out loud. I couldn't believe that, because this is something that the powers that shouldn't be. This is what they talk about behind closed doors. So you folks in Canada, I don't know if there's still any time left to speak up about this, but it's time to be speaking. And I'll close with this. It reminded me, because this guy's really, maybe he's just doofus enough he doesn't realize what he said, but it reminded me of a scene from that movie, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Is you ain't my constituency. Is you ain't my constituency.
You remember that movie? And there was a little guy running for office that was trying to represent the little guy, and he's getting a lot of traction. It looks like he's going to win the race, and it goes to his head, and he gets overconfident, and he finds himself in this hall packed full of people that are very enthusiastic, and then he lets it slip with a little bit of innuendo. He lets it slip that he's a member of the KKK. I mean, KKK with cross burnings and with lynchings and with midnight gatherings and all of the rest. And guess what? The citizenry, the people that were, that's the scene. Is you is or is you ain't my constituents. Well, he found out real quick they weren't his constituents, and they ended up hauling him out of there, and he was history. Boy, is that what needs to happen with some folks all over the world, certainly here in Ohio. Folks, we the people need to exercise our authority as we the people, and these unelected bureaucrats and these elected individuals that think they have no accountability to us, They need to be hauled out of here, just like that dude was in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And until next time, by the way, go to Rebel News and support Pastor Artur Pawlowski if you can. Till next time, God bless you, God bless your family, God bless the state of Ohio, God bless the United States of America, which is proudly and firmly standing strong with our oppressed brethren there in Canada. Have a good night.
I hear the sweet sound of